This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, Rusty back here with your latest Meteo Mundo forecast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and boy do we have a lot to unpack in this video. Coming up, we'll talk about Hurricane Tammy, which is actually getting stronger as it heads towards Bermuda. The leftover remnants of TD21, which has now emerged in the eastern Pacific. It could wrap up into a tropical system there. The opportunity for Caribbean islands again later this week to have more excessive rainfall. But I've got to start off this forecast with what happened in Mexico last night with Hurricane Otus. If you hadn't heard, we had Tropical Storm Otus become a Category 5 hurricane within 24 hours and move right over Acapulco, Mexico late last night. This is the worst case scenario I could imagine. A tropical storm becoming a Category 5 hurricane in less than a day, right before making landfall in a major metropolitan area. Well over 1 million people in the Acapulco metropolitan area with very little time to evacuate. The video and the photos that have been coming in this morning show some utter devastation there. Our thoughts are with them. But again, somewhat unprecedented to go from a tropical storm to a Cat 5 hurricane in less than a day. We're seeing it more and more in the last 5 years or so with global warming, with the sea surface temperatures being so out of control. I mentioned it with Tammy that, again, the models are very good at the tracks now. 5-7 days out, they're very precise, but they still can't get a handle on how strong these storms can become very quickly with the exceptional warmth and depth of that warm water, even close to shore, and especially close to shore. So again, this moved right over the worst case scenario for Acapulco, again, as a Category 5 hurricane. All right, let's get into what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean and the Atlantic. I want to get into Hurricane Tammy, and as I do, thank you for liking the video. It really helps out the channel. Let's talk about Tammy. Now, first of all, do you see this in the latest satellite imagery? We've got ourselves a clear eye out of Tammy. Tammy has actually strengthened. Winds are now 90 miles an hour. Tammy continues to move up basically north, but it's going to swing back to the north and to the west and head towards Bermuda. Now, there's a couple of things to note that's going to quickly happen with Tammy. First of all, Tammy's going to begin to slow down. Tammy is going to start to become extratropical or post-tropical as it encounters a trough and begins to lose some of its tropical characteristics. Now, that might be okay news for Bermuda, and you notice that our model never takes Tammy as far west as Bermuda. So hopefully we're putting on the brakes with Tammy. But again, I'm going to take off some of this so you can just see this clearly. The presentation right now of the wind field, very impressive with Tammy right now. And you can just see it clearly. We never had this as it moved through the Leeward Islands, but already beginning to encounter some of that drier air on the northern and the western sides. Let me show you that water vapor imagery. It becomes a little bit clearer when you see this. Look at all of this red. Look at all of this dry air that Tammy is going to encounter. Now it's going to slow down and try and slowly work its way off towards the west, but it's going to become extratropical as it does so, which means the wind field is actually going to expand. That could be problems for Bermuda if Tammy were to make it that far to the north and to the west. But again, officially the Hurricane Center kind of has Tammy slowing down, and then the models start to push Tammy back off towards the east. At this point in time, there's no watches or warnings for Bermuda, but that's obviously something we're gonna have to keep a very close eye on. Let me show you the official, or not the official, but the GFS model here out of Tammy for us here. I'm gonna extend this out in the time a little bit here. Let's go out, let's say 5 days. I think that's a good measure. And I'll put this into motion. And what you're going to see out of this, again, is Tammy beginning to move towards Bermuda, beginning to kind of become more post-tropical. We're losing that core, that center, and then be pushed back off towards the east. So again, a very close approach with Tammy is likely as a post-tropical, extratropical system. But again, the winds could still be an issue for us here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit closer. You can actually see there's Bermuda. Notice the GFS model puts on the brakes right near Bermuda and then shoves it back off towards the east. But if I live in Bermuda, or you know anyone who lives in Bermuda, I am keeping an extremely close eye on Tammy. There is absolutely the possibility that we could still have some impacts out of Tammy, even wind impacts, but obviously kicking up the surf and sea conditions and potentially bringing some heavier rain. And you can just see again, this GFS is very much on this. Again, we have the core winds very close to the center of circulation as Tammy is still tropical, and that's the definition of it. You got to have the strongest winds near the center of circulation. But notice as Tammy becomes more post-tropical, we start to lose those core winds, and now those winds are a little bit more widespread, out a little bit farther away from the center of circulation, which again is not good because now your wind field is expanded and we could have some higher end tropical storm winds at least approaching Bermuda over the weekend before hopefully we start to shove Tammy back off towards the east. So again, Tammy is stronger than it ever has been right now with winds of 90 miles an hour, but is looking to become post-tropical as we get into the latter part of the weekend and into early next week as well. All right, so let's move on right now to what's going to be happening with some rain chances. And we're going to really break this down kind of sector by sector for us here. And first of all, again, if any of this information is helping you out, subscribing to our new channel would be very much appreciated, and letting your friends and family know about Meteo Mundo as well. If you think it's something that they would get out of this, we certainly appreciate that support as well. So I want to take a look at the rainfall in the Bahamas, and we're going to go area by area for us here. Going to start off in the Bahamas, going to go over the next couple days. I can show you this high resolution model, which is one reason why I want to start in the Bahamas. And you can clearly see that on the western kind of periphery of where Tammy is, we're just shooting in some very breezy conditions and fast moving showers. There's not going to be a lot of rain for the Bahamas the next couple of days, but it's going to be windy. We're going to kick up east and northeast winds, 15 to 25 miles an hour with some higher gusts, and we'll see some scattered showers for places like Eleuthera and Nassau, on up towards Abaco and Grand Bahama as well. A little bit lower chance the farther north that you go, but certainly the opportunity. And again, these are wind-driven showers that'll be moving across the northwest Bahamas, the central Bahamas, and portions of the southeast Bahamas. A little bit less there, but again, even places like Georgetown, more than likely we'll see some passing showers over the next couple of days. Let's get to what's going to be happening in places like the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico as well. I'm going to go back over to the GFS model here. I'm going to show you a couple of different models out of this just to give you an indication of, that there are several models that are agreeing with what I'm going to be talking about here in just a second, and that is the opportunity for some excessive rainfall here. Let me drop this back down just a second. There we go. All right. So looking at this time frame over the next 5 days. All right, look at the potential for some heavier rain moving back in, especially to Puerto Rico and portions of the Leeward Islands. We're going to get some rain coming back into places like the Dominican Republic and Santo Domingo and Haiti and Port-au-Prince. But as I take this and drop it and zoom it out a little bit more, you're going to see a convergence of moisture coming in right through the Lesser Antilles, the Greater Antilles, a lot of the Antilles. We're going to have the opportunity for more heavy rainfall, the potential for some excessive rainfall in these areas late week and into the weekend. This is the GFS model, just kind of showing you that moisture convergence. And again, when I zoom in, towards portions of the northern Leeward Islands, towards Antigua and Barbuda and Anguilla and Dominica, some of the same areas that were impacted significantly by Tammy, and more than likely may not need any more rain. And that's what I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. I would want to hear whether you would be happy about getting more rain later in the week, or whether you've had enough and you'd be worried about any flash flooding potential out of this as well. And this continues all the way down towards Trinidad and Tobago as well. So this is the GFS model. You can clearly see the heavier rain. Let's take a look at the potential total precipitation out of this model for us here. I'm going to, again, same time frame through the weekend, the next 5 days. All right. You're going to start to see some whites, some grays, and even some peach colors coming out of this. There is the opportunity on this model, and I'm going to show you, we'll just kind of go through all of these areas of the amount of rainfall that we could potentially see. So over the next 5 days, we could see a few inches of rain in Puerto Rico, a little bit less as you go towards Hispaniola. As you head towards portions of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, there's a little maximum there. You can see St. Croix right around 3 inches, Roadtown 3.5. Same thing for St. Thomas. Again, as you get towards the northern sides of the Leeward Islands, right? St. Martin and Anguilla, 3 inches of rain. Additional 3 to 5, St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's get down towards Guadeloupe here. Take a look at this. potentially 4 to 5 inches of rain. Again, don't focus on one number, but look at this swath that the GFS model is putting back on for the Leeward Islands. And it's pretty heavy rainfall for the Windward Islands as well. You get down towards Barbados, 2 inches of rain. There's some rain for Trinidad and Grenada as well. You get the idea. There's a lot of rain possible here. ABC Islands included in this, and I'll show you the models coming up. 4 more additional heavy rainfall in these areas starting basically Friday through the weekend ahead. Now, this is the GFS model. I'm going to switch over to the North American model, the NAM model. We'll look at the next 3 days out of the NAM model. And the reason why I'm showing you this model here real quick, and I need to switch over to the correct edition of the NAM model to give you the longest time frame. Let me make sure I'm also on reflectivity. I am. All right, let me loop this in. You're going to see the NAM model is in agreement with the GFS. Look at all of the moisture coming back in. Extremely moisture-laden air, eastern side of the Caribbean, far western sides of the Atlantic. Heavy rainfall is possible. So that's the big story for a lot of the areas here late in the week. Not, in essence, tropical development, but the potential for a lot of excessive rainfall in some areas that I'll be closely monitoring. And you can see that the NAM model is a little bit more aggressive with the rain over Puerto Rico and portions of the Dominican Republic as well. Now, for our friends in Jamaica, what does it look like there? Well, let me show you the NAM model to begin with. I'll loop this. And you will see that the NAM model has a little bit more in the way of passing showers at this point in time, all right? So that's what I anticipate is to be more passing showers than anything else, but still higher rainfall chances here coming up. If I switch over to the GFS model, and again, we'll go back to the same time frame for us here. So let me go over the next 5 days in the same area. Put this into motion, you're going to see that the GFS model has more rainfall earlier in the week. So once this loops again, starting on the 25th, you're going to see, again, a little bit more rain for today and then for tomorrow, scattered in nature if nothing else. But we're going to get more showers for Kingston and for Montego Bay and for Negril. So the areas, again, that could use a little bit of shower activity to help cool things off, I expect it. And this model for the ABC Islands, again, scattered rain, maybe not as widespread as to the north and to the east, but that's some decent rainfall on the GFS model, again, with the ABC Islands as well. So it's the opportunity for some of the heavier rain across portions of the Caribbean and even the western sides of the Atlantic. I think it's going to be the big story for the week ahead. So let's break this down for some of the major areas. We're going to start off with our friends in Kingston. How about an 80% chance for showers and storms the remainder of this Wednesday? Just 88 for the daytime high because you've already seen some rain. You continue to see those showers in the forecast. 50% chance on Friday. It will be a little bit drier Friday and Saturday. Excuse me, 50% chance on Thursday, a little bit drier Friday, Saturday, back up to a 40% chance for your Sunday. For our friends in Puerto Rico, for San Juan, for Ponce, for Arecibo, 60% chance for showers today, 50% chance tomorrow, and then the rain actually becomes more likely Friday and Saturday, 70 to 80% chance. Again, as we go through Sunday, the opportunity for several inches of rain in total over the next 5 days. And again, you know those areas that have a little bit of flooding potential more than others. We'll be watching for that, especially in portions of the Virgin Islands and the Lesser Antilles as well. Then for our friends in Grand Bahama, this is more about the wind than anything else. We're going to have very breezy east-northeast winds over the next several days. This will bring about some passing quick showers. I'm not concerned about the potential for excessive rain throughout the Bahamas, but again, wind-swept showers, breezy conditions, and look at these temperatures actually staying in the lower 80s. And again, nothing concentrated, so just a low-end chance right on through Saturday, up to a 30% chance for our Sunday. But obviously the rain is the big story, and we'll be monitoring that for you the next several days at Meteo Mundo. Again, thank you very much for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps out our new channel, and we appreciate that, and you sharing it with your family and friends. And other ways to support the channel you'll find in the description below. Thank you very much, friends. We'll see you next time for your latest forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas right here at Meteo Mundo.